this weekend. Sad news for Wisconsin sports fans as he has shown up to fail a test of performance-enhancing drugs in Major League Baseball, testing for high levels of synthetic testosterone. This test occurred during the playoffs after the regular season. There's a lot to digest in this one, and of course Braun is appealing. What is the initial reaction that you guys have with this story?
The initial reaction for me was that my favorite thing about Major League Baseball is Ryan Braun, and the thing I hate the most about Major League Baseball is steroids. So I was just torn, and I just don't get it. These guys don't learn that they're going to get caught. He's appealing it, but it's a really sketchy situation, and then he just got the MVP award, which has also been out there in the news lately, whether that should be taken away from him or he should keep it. I was really disappointed as a fan of baseball itself and a fan of Braun.
My first thing is seeing that he's appealing it. First of all, no player's ever won an appeal.
Yep.
Talk about that for steroids real quick. And then, what they found is synthetic testosterone in his system. And if you guys out there don't know, synthetic testosterone, that's not man-made. So that is from some substance. So I'm not sure what he's really, disputing here. He did take a second urine test, and that came up false. So I don't fully grasp the concept of how they test these guys. But to me, if he came up false in the first one and there's synthetic testosterone, where did that come from? It had to come from somewhere. So the thing is, he could have flushed it out of his system by the second test. But what this does to the Brewers, they're losing Prince Fielder, and here goes Braun for 50 games is the suspension he faces if he is, found guilty. So they could be going from the top of the NL Central to the bottom, but that's something we can talk about a little later on in the show. I think for Wisconsinites, this Ryan Braun thing's really tough to digest. If Aaron Rodgers gets caught with something, it's going to be, a travesty here in Wisconsin. But that's all the time we have for right now. Let's take a look at some of those adorable pets in need of loving homes at the Callie Region Humane Society.
This is Cherry. She is a domestic medium hair mix that loves to cuddle. This 1-year-old kitty also loves to be brushed to keep her coat super soft. She is ready to find a new family to take her home and love her forever. This is Sunset. She's a domestic short hair mix that loves a lot of attention. Sunset will purr loudly to show you how much she loves your affection. She is about 1 year old and would love for you to take her home. This Pit Bull Terrier mix is named Noelle. She is looking for a loving home and loves to meet new people. Noelle is very gentle and lovable. This 3-year-old also loves to perform tricks and is eager to learn new ones from you as well.
More about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Callie Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Once again, the number for the Callie Region Humane Society is 781-4014.
And we're going to stick with baseball. They had the winter meetings this past week. The Angels made a big move this weekend.
A couple.
Yep, signing Albert Pujols to a 10-year, $254 million contract, which was a shocker after being with the Cardinals for 11 seasons. Right. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, Albert Pujols is happy. I know that. I think the Angels may have outreached here for Albert Pujols. He's clearly the best player in the game, one of the greatest hitters of our generation, and will go down as one of the best baseball players of all time. But when you look at a 10-year deal, $250 million, when this guy's well past his prime, the Angels are still going to be paying him top-tier money. I think what they were trying to do is look at the Dodgers across town. They're down. The Rangers in their division are dominating. They wanted to make a splash, and they want to win now. There's no question that by grabbing Pujols, they win now, but how does this affect their pocketbooks 8 years from now?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, actually, Nick. I think this was a great signing for the Angels. I don't think they paid too much at all. Before last year, it was reported the Cardinals were going to give him 10 years, $300 million. So, they lost almost $50 million there. So I think it's a really good signing for the fact that they're in the AL. And we know he's going to be 32 in, I think, January. Ending the end of his career. The guys don't move as well at first base anymore, but they are in the AL. Like I said, he can DH 5 years down the road when his knees start to give out and things like that, and still be a very productive hitter, which is something I think really hurt Barry Bonds later on in his career when he was playing with the NL Giants. He didn't have a chance to be in that DH role, and he still had to be in the outfield every day. So I really like this signing. But I want to move on to a different one. We'll look at C.J. Wilson here, who was the prized arm of this offseason so far. He signed a 5-year, $75 million contract with them, which really ups the rotation. I'll just give you the rotation real quick in no particular order. We got Jared Weaver, Dan Herron, C.J. Wilson, Irving Santana, and Joe Pinheiro. So they're looking strong from the arms point of view, and they just got the best hitter of our generation, excuse me. But we'll move on to another team making a splash. That's the Miami Marlins. Yeah, formerly the Florida Marlins, changed their name to Miami. Just signed Jose Reyes. They got a new manager and a new look. What do you guys think about the Marlins?
I'm liking the new look. I like the new hats. Jose looked good in the hat. I'm excited for the Marlins this year just to see where they're at. I'm used to watching games against them where there's probably maybe 10 people in the crowd, so hopefully they can get their franchise booming a little bit. They signed Jose Reyes, which was a good call for them. The Mets really didn't make him any offers, so he ended up there. I think that's a fresh start, a good signing, and I think they're on the right track.
Now, the Marlins are a team that is not a historic team, but historically, they like to go in very small financial bursts, win it all, and then fire sell all of it. And right now, owner Jeffrey Loria is in another scheme to win the World Series, and soon. Brings in Ozzie Guillen, a controversial but motivating manager by the time the last season was even over. They also signed closer Heath Bell from the Padres to a 3-year deal, and brought in pitcher Mark Burley, who's got a perfect game to his credit only a few short seasons ago. The Marlins are definitely setting up to invest a lot of money and win now. We'll see if they sell everybody, but they are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with this season.
I want to quickly touch on something both of you talked about a little bit here. They are spending a lot of money, and Callie talked about there's not a lot of people in the stadium, and traditionally they don't spend a lot of money. Where's all this money coming from? I have no idea where they're getting all this money. They're moving into a new stadium. They're signing 3 key free agents so far, and they're still in the works for Prince Fielder. I don't know where they're getting this money. I understand the whole economy side. You got to spend money to make money.
Yep.
But in the economy we're in such a debt, you can't just be spending money. They could be putting themselves out of business here. I'm not kidding.
I think the taxpayers funding that stadium and what they're banking on for season ticket holders, they're hoping it all pays off, but we'll see what happens.
High hopes there for them.
Yes.
Switching a little bit closer to home now, how about the Milwaukee Brewers? They've been making a few moves as well. Francisco Rodriguez avoided arbitration. Not a market for him out there, so he signed a return to Milwaukee. They also shored up their infield, replacing Yuniesky Betancourt with former Atlanta Braves shortstop Alex Gonzalez. And, of course, they have just most recently inked a deal sending Casey McGee to Pittsburgh and bringing in former Cubs third baseman Aramis Ramirez, who had a resurgent season. What are you guys' impressions of the moves the Brewers are making in the offseason?
I really like what the Brewers are doing this offseason. They're tweaking for the positive side. They're shifting the people around a little bit here and there, making some moves, and I like what they're doing because of these moves that they're making. They're going to have to replace Prince Fielder's greatness. That was the key to this. They were going to lose him, but they were going to be able to bring in some more people with the money that was let up for him. So
yeah, so far I like the moves they're making. I like Aramis Ramirez. A lot of people don't know. We were talking about this earlier, Nick. He won the Silver Slugger last year, so he's the best hitting third baseman last year. He hit 300 with 26 home runs. I think it's kind of a quiet Silver Slugger year for him because we didn't really realize.
Yep.
But he is a guy that has been tend to be injury prone. I really like the Alex Gonzalez signing. He hit 240 last year, which is 20 points up from Yuniesky Betancourt's 220 average. Brewer fans don't live in that fantasy that Uni B is going to hit 275 because he's not. He's not a good hitter, and he never has been his whole career. So I think it's an upgrade for their offense. In terms of the Casey McGee, I think that trade was literally just money. They signed him to a contract that they don't want to pay him anymore because what they got for him was not what he's worth. He's not worth a ton. But they definitely got the worst out of that deal, but did cut some money on the cap.
Of course, Alex Gonzalez, I think he'll almost be a wash with Betancourt offensively. I mean, he's going to settle in 7th or 8th in the lineup. But the difference he's going to make on defense is going to be astronomical compared to Yuniesky and Betancourt. I'm talking 20 to 25 runs less allowed on defense just by his glove. And as we stick to the Brewers theme talk, we'll shift to Prince Fielder. Scott Boras came out with a very large booklet handing out to teams interested, talking about Fielder's strengths. Besides Ryan Madsen and Edwin Jackson, Fielder, those are the top 3 guys left in the free agent market. Where do you guys see Fielder landing, and how long do you see him signing a contract with the president that Pujols set at first base?
I think he's going to have a pretty decent-sized contract after what Pujols got. I have a feeling if I were to place him somewhere, I think he's going to the Rangers. They need someone, and then he'll be able to see his buddy Pujols there playing against him again. But I think he's going to get a lot of money.
I have a really bad feeling here that the big veggie, that's what I like to call him, because he is a vegetarian. He's a pretty big guy. But the big veggie, I have a really bad feeling he's going to follow Dale Swaim to Chicago and be a Cub. And I love the guy, but I think I'm going to love to hate him for years to come. He's got just such a quick bat at first base there, and he's a fantastic first baseman. I don't want him going there, but the teams that are still in the talks for him, the Cubs, Rangers,